So I've just been down to Melbourne for the Aussie media launch of the brand new Shotgun 650 from Royal Enfield. So stick around and I'll give you my top 5 thumbs up list thingy.
Or high five.
High five. High five will do. Yep.
Tell us, where'd you go and how was it?
So I was down in Melbourne. We started with a bit of a ride around the CBD. Then I was out into the country, into the Yarra Valley, which was absolutely awesome. Heap of journalists there. And I actually find it always a little bit amusing when I get invited to these kind of things. I've only been to a couple. Because I'm not a journalist, I'm a cameraman.
Yeah, but you've also been riding for what, like 30 years?
Yeah, about 30 years.
Yeah, so you know what you like. So what are your top 5?
Number 1 is the new cross-spoked wheels. Now, these are totally redesigned rims.
Yep.
They're tubeless. They look wonderful. They look a bit modern and a bit classic. I was talking to Adrian Sellers, who's the lead designer for Royal Enfield, and he said they're a little bit of a design challenge making them. And at first, when I first looked at them, I thought, oh, they're exactly the same as the old ones. But when you look a bit closer, they're a really funky, cool design. Now, there's also some ones in the Royal Enfield Genuine Accessories catalogue with machined edges, which look even better. So for me, that was my number 1. I really liked those when I saw them in person.
Yeah, so that's not a functional thing, that's purely aesthetic.
Functional in terms of being tubeless.
Yeah.
And alloys, they're a little bit light. But yeah, it's an aesthetic thing that they worked on to make it a little bit different, but still give it a bit of an old school look. Okay,
and number 2?
Number 2 is all about piano black.
What the hell's piano black?
So piano black is the colour of some of the parts of this bike. It's got a lot of high gloss components which really suit this sort of like stripped back bobber.
Yeah.
But they decided to call the colourway piano black, make it a little bit classy. You know, pianos are classy. Yeah. So they called it piano black. I think it looks awesome. So you've got rocker cover, you've got engine covers, you've got switch blocks. They look awesome and they really suit this bike.
So is piano black the colourway of the bike?
No, piano black only refers to the high gloss finishes.
Okay.
The colour that I had was sheet metal grey, which I think is the best looking of the lot. We'll go through the rally colour range when we do a review of this bike when we get one. Sheet metal grey is the one that I would buy. It's also the cheapest one in the range.
So that's the standard?
Standard version, yeah.
All right, so on to number 3.
Number 3 was all about the Neo nacelle. Now, Royal Enfields have always been known for their nacelle. It's part of their design language.
Yeah.
So they've redesigned this one. They wanted to incorporate it in this bike. You know, it's an important part of Royal Enfield's history.
Yeah.
But they've made it a modern version of the nacelle. Really nice. The clock is still offset, and I did talk to Adrian about that, and he said, you know, the way they had to design it, they wanted to include the tripper. They thought the design worked best with it offset.
Yep.
And I must admit, it does look good.
Okay.
If I was buying it, I'd still try and get that clock centered.
So even the designer of Royal Enfield couldn't change your mind?
Nah.
Okay, so on to number 4.
Number 4 is a practical one.
Okay.
And so this bike comes standard with a centre stand.
Yay!
Yeah, so you being a chain drive bike rider,
Without a centre stand.
with only a side stand would understand this one. So like, I mean, when you've got a bike with a chain drive, just makes sense to have a centre stand. The centre stand on this one is standard, absolute winner.
And final lucky number 5.
So this one is probably my main thumbs up.
Okay.
And it's to do with the rear seat.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a rear seat that is removable with a key.
Yep.
So literally put the key in, seat comes off, you've got a nice little rack sitting there.
Nice.
Luggage rack, that kind of idea. That comes standard with the bike. But you can remove that luggage rack. It's part of the rear subframe. That's 4 bolts that come out, take about 15 minutes to do apparently. That comes off and you've got this really cool little bobber. So what I love is that that's not an option to add it, it's something that comes as standard that you can take away. So it makes really simple customization a straightforward thing to do. I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, I probably need to spend a little bit more time on it, but I think this could be my favourite in the Royal Enfield 650 range.
Ooh, that's a lot coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, I love those bikes, and we haven't touched on engine or any of that stuff. We'll do that in the review.
Yeah.
But, mate, this one was fun. It handles better than the Super Meteor because of the 18 and 17-inch rims.
Yeah, okay.
But it's still got that really cool look.
So what do you think is next for Royal Enfield?
So I said at the time when they released the Super Meteor that looking at the design of that bike, I could clearly see a classic 650 in the works.
Yeah.
And I think looking at the Shotgun 650 has just reinforced that thought.
Yeah.
Particularly now they've gone to an 18-inch rim on the front, 17-inch on the back. The design just looks like a modern version of a classic 650.
Yeah.
So no word from Royal Enfield on that. I did push them. They were absolutely non-committal about it. For me, I would not be surprised if we see the next bike from Royal Enfield being a classic 650.
All right, so let us know your thoughts. If you agree with Ross's thumbs up or high five or
top five, whatever
we decided on, or if you have a different view on the bike, let us know your thoughts. So, when are we getting one? Because I would like to ride it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get one, I don't know, in the next month or so. And I feel like I need to spend a bit more time on it as well to get to know the bike, and maybe I'll come up with some other things and other likes and things that I like about it.
Yeah.
Now, I did shoot a short video with Adrian Sellers, who's the lead designer of Royal Enfield. So we'll get that one up on the channel as soon as we can. The Shotgun 650 is the latest in the Royal Enfield 650 range. Click on this playlist over here to check out our reviews of the Super Meteor, Continental GT, and of course the bike that started this massive hit for Royal Enfield, the Interceptor 650.